to understand the basic concepts of the lists. And in this video, I'll be showing you as simple as humanly possible so that you can implement them a lot better in your day-to-day workflows. So the very first thing, the very first component that you use a lot in lists or in terms of lists is called list item. I'm pretty sure you've seen this a lot, and let's take a closer look at what list item does. I've already created this points here. So what populate 2D does, populates points in two-dimensional area and see changes their location. Let's take a look at these points as white dots by displaying them with dot display. And now you see, if I pull out a point list, 2D points, it will enable me to see the number of the index number of each point here. So for instance, when we are looking at setting as such, we see 45. 45 means the point that we're looking at now in this list is tagged as the 45th point in this list. So if we come over here and put 45 to the list item, because it's asking us the index, we are defining the index as the tag. And when we preview this on, we started to see the number 45 or index 45. If you're looking for, let's say, 120 point, here we go, you see that here. If you're looking for the first point, if you zoom out, you see the point. So in short, list item means, or list item helps you to select specific data, either geometry or number or anything at a specific index, and you put the index to the index input of the list item component. Second thing that I want to take a look at is the list length. So let's take a look at the list length. Again, for the list length, I have a set of points. We can still, we do have these points defined here. And what I want to see here in terms of the points is basically how many points we are putting in this list, or how many points we have in this list. So when you pull out a list item, list length component, you connect the list to it, and it outputs you the number that you have. And within this number, it's basically what we're using this number to tag them, right? Or to change their kind of orientation and size. So what we are basically doing is taking these list length and using the numbers that we want to have, like let's say between 5 and 50. So we are ranging this sizes between 5 and 50 and using these sizes as the dot display. So this length in short does one thing, takes a list and outputs how many items you have in that list. In this case, we are using that number to generate random sizes for us to display the points. And when you change the seed, if you want to, you'll see it's changing. And when you change the number of points, you'll see that the points will be added randomly sized in this equation. However, list item does only one thing, gives you the number of items in that list. The third thing that I want to show you is the split list. Split list is a component which enables you to split a list into two or many, depending on what you're going to do. Again, we have the same setup with the points. Maybe I preview this all off for a second. We have the points. We kind of put the points in with the numbers. So I can preview this off, and we can dot display these so that we know the numbers on the points. So in short, I have 51 points here. Remember, 0 is included as the point. So we have 50 point here, I'm sorry, because it's generated with the populate 2D. So what this does, you take a list, you connect the list to the split list input as a list, and you give an index where you want to split the list. So in this case, the list that we started to split is starting from 26. And when we preview this on, we started to see all the points that are tagged 25 and below. And all the other points that are tagged 26 and more is red because we define them as red and blue. Again, split list, it's basically you provide a list and within at a specific index point, it splits your list into two. And in this case, we see them as coded with blue and red as well. Well, real quick, if you want to get an access to the exercise file, to this exercise file, follow the link in description and join my free school community. So the next thing that I want to show you is shift list. Shift list is an important component. I'm sure you already saw this at some point. But what it does, basically, when you provide two curves in this case, and you have set of points on them, leave this off for a second, and you see we have the point list on the first curve, starting from 0, it reaches to 9, totaling 10 points. And we have the same thing with the shift list. However, if I preview this on, I started to see that my list or the points in my list is shifting, meaning 0, 0, it's supposed to be 0, but if you shift it 1, now your first point or your point 0 is shifted 1 number to the right. And if we shift it with 2, you see it goes 2, it offsets it to 2, offsets it to 3, and so on and so forth. If you create line in between these two, obviously it's kind of tangling now because we are connecting it too like tight. And this is how you can implement shift list. Basically what it does, you provide a list, you provide a number to offset the values that you have in that list, and then shift list will handle the rest. And this is how you use shift list. The fifth thing that I want to show you is the sublist, which is also very useful. However, there might be some cases this component causes some unnecessary complications or confusions, but let's take a look at them together. So what it does, basically, I have a curve, I have a second curve, and within these sublists, you see that I divided into 10. I have 10, 11 points, I have 11 points. What sublist does, it basically takes a list and a domain, and between that domain, within that domain, it gives you the range or the selection in that list. So for instance, in this case, we are selecting the items in the list coded or tagged between 4 and 8. So 4 till 8, and these are my points. And 4 till 8, these are my points. And I connect them and I create a loft surface in between. So sublist is asking you to provide a list and the domain, therefore it can output you the index between that domain you already provided. Not last actually, we have one more. There is another important list component which is called partition list. This might be a little bit better than the sublist. So what this does, it takes your list. In this case, we have a curve, right? And it's divided into, again, like 10. The same is divided into 10. However, when you divide this or partition list with the sizes, it's asking you the sizes. So you provide the list and the sizes, and it gives you one list with 2 items, the second list with 3 items, the other list, the third list with 2 items, it goes back to 2, it goes back to 3, and we only have 1 point at the end, so it's going to be another list. So we can take a look at it by providing a param viewer. We connect this in. You see 2, 3, 2, 3, and 1, because at the end we only have 1 point, and then that's why it has only 1 item in it. The same goes for this guy too. You can change this to, let's say, 1 to 5 or 1 to 4, and you see that it starts with 1 item and then 4 item, 1 item, and then 4 item, and then 1 item again. When we take a look at it with a param viewer, you see that 1, 4, 1, 4, and 1. All right. So these are very useful in terms of list management, but I particularly find one really important, which is this guy called replace items. And there is maybe I can preview this all off, or let's see where I have these guys in So they're already put here. I can preview this off for a second. Preview this guy off for a second. So what replace items does, takes a set of items, okay, and takes one particular list and changes the items that you're providing within the existing list. All right. So let's say in your list you have this class, but you want to replace this class with the phone. So what you need to do, you need to provide the list that contains the class and its index, and then provide the phone so that phone is replacing the class. Okay. And in geometrically, how we approach this, we can create a few points by, maybe I zoom in a little more. Maybe I put a point and then zoom into this point a little, just better view. We do create these points by creating construct point and some series. And then we loft these to create the surface. And on that surface, we create a kind of a attractor point. And based on the attractor point, we want this surface to kind of wave, you know? For that reason, I divide these curves into three. And based on the distance between my points and the attractor point, I want these points to move in Z direction. And when we add this Z motion, you see whenever I have my attractor point moves, my point Z moves as well. However, you see all the points are moving, right? But maybe I want to keep some of those points on the ground, meaning I don't want them to go all over the place, meaning they're anchored to the ground. To do that, I provide this list and I provide these items, the items that I want to keep this surface anchored. So I want to anchor the surface from these points. Therefore, I get these points location. So I connect a list item to my divided points, and then I put that in. And the index for this is 0. So my moved points are provided as list. The items that I want to change is these guys. I want to replace this points by the anchor points, and I provide indices. As a result, I receive this one. You see the difference? So replace items shows me the points where I anchored, or surface points that I've anchored, and the move output or move component shows me all the points that are moving based on the attraction that's coming from the attractor point. After I connect them as a NURBS curve, I loft it, I create this kind of a surface, right? And that surface is triggered with the motion of this attractor point, all right? So in short, replace items basically takes all your points, takes a list, and replace some items in the list based on their indices. Okay, if you are serious learning Grasshopper, I can help you. I have 5 spots open to work with me one-on-one. If you're interested and serious, book a call with me with the link in description. Let's sit down for a short chat and see if I can be helpful or not. So all these items in the lists, or all these components in the lists, all these components to control lists and management, data management in the list, they're really important, and it helped me a lot to gain more clarity in Grasshopper. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one.